tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of sing. Went off to college, but college turned out me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to sing. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beanstalk, tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to sing. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beanstalk, tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college turned out me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to sing.
Awesome to have you on again, Brad.
By the way, you guys did a great job with that.
Sweet talk to beanstalk, tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene.
What is up, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium? It's your boy Swank. It's Tuesday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for the K-Gun Report. We have a very special episode for you guys tonight, getting you through this off-season bog. We got one of our favorite guests returning, trying to He's trying to threaten Mark Maddox's record for most return guests right now. We got Mr. Brad Lamb, ex-Buffalo Bills wide receiver, in the room with us tonight. We can't wait to chat with him. We're going to talk about OTAs. We're going to talk a little bit about what the NFLPA's got going on and what this wide receiver room might shape up to look like. Hey, you know what? Grab a drink. I'm going to hit this intro, and we're going to get right into it. Here we are, and here it is on another beautiful Tuesday evening. We're just getting over some rain and stuff up here. Brad, welcome. We got our special guest, Mr. Brad Lamb, right down here below me. How's it going tonight, Brad?
It's awesome. Always great to be on with you fellas. Looking forward to tonight and talking a little Buffalo Bills.
Absolutely. Love having you on, man. Right up here next to me, guys, you might go into shock. We actually got the full crew this week. We got the guests, we got everything going on. But right here next to me, my brother from another mother, Mr. Scooter Magooter. Scott, what do you got tonight?
What's up, Bills Mafia, Buff fan base, 24/7 Buff Pandemonium, Finger Lakes Mafia, got it all in there. It's been a little bit. I tell you, I missed one Tuesday, and it feels like a whole month and a half. So glad to be back, getting my therapy for the week. Can't wait to start.
Hell yeah. And right down below him, diagonal from me, it's like Hollywood Squares, Buffalo Mafia, Bills Mafia Squares. It's his twin brother, my estranged triplet brother, Mr. Jarrod, Jerry Reed. What's up, Jerry? How you doing tonight?
Hey, Swank. Hey, Brad. Hey, Scott. Hey, Bills Mafia. I've been gone longer than Scott has, and I was just telling the guys about 25 minutes ago that I get the nervous tummy working like I've never done this before. But we're here to have fun. We have special guest Brad. Brad, welcome. Can't wait to chat football with you.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's pretty adorable that you call it a tummy. I gotta assume that's just because you got like 8 kids or whatever.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. And potty and everything else.
Yeah, there you go. All right, in the comments, we got our boy Shane Becker saying, "Go Bills." What's up, Shane? We got Corey Blaine saying, "Let's go. Ready for another great show, boys." Hell yeah, starting with the R jokes right off the bat. We're going to have to explain that to Mr. Brad Lamb.
Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole time I was like, did I miss it? It was during the draft show when it
Yeah.
started, this
Yep.
whole R thing. And I must have gotten up to the bathroom or something. So I've been playing along this whole time.
You didn't
there
know?
it is. They're saying R again.
Oh, man.
I have no
You
clue.
did a pretty good acting job, man. So
Thank you.
we did like a 4.5, 5-hour draft show, Brad, and it was live like while it was going on. And, and then we traded out of the first round. So it didn't really, whatever. But we took some phone calls and we were joking around. But at some point, Jerry said too many R's on a word he was pronouncing. So then everybody in the comments, every time they used a word with R, they added like 5 more to it. So it was so yeah, you'll see a lot of that tonight. Let's see here. We got Corey
That's
Blaine.
great.
He says, just got home from vacation. We met a lot of cool Bills fans in Virginia Beach, surprisingly. Man, we're all over the place, Corey. Welcome back. We got Berto. Hey, everybody, go Bills. Mafia is all over the place. That's right. We got Tony Diaz over on Twitter because I refuse to call it X. He says, what's up, Bills Mafia? What's up, Tony? We got Cookie, Josh Cook in the comments. What's up, everybody? What's up, Cookie?
What's up, guys? What's up, everyone?
Let's see, we got Patrick Hughes. Sorry for being late, but I'm here. So let's get rolling. Oh,
Say,
yeah.
probably won't take long, Brad, until they're saying Brad.
See, this is what makes it all worthwhile, Brad, because our boy Patrick Hughes says Jarrod just has to take some Rolaids and you'll be fine.
Yeah, here we go.
Here it is. We got Doug. We got Joey Hatch. What's up, brother? We got Casey Nicole. Hey, Mafia family. Got my FLX gear on today, too. Absolutely. You can catch your own FLX Mafia gear over at our store, our bonfire site, or you can go to 247buffpandemonium.com/shop, and you can get yours there if you want. We just got a big a big name in the comments right now, Mr. Buffalo Spartan.
This is Sparta.
What's up, Spartan? You're way early, dude. Like usually you come in at like 9:05.
Just in time for overtime.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. So we do have our special guest, Mr. Brad Lamb, ex-wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills, one of our favorite guests down here. And we wanted to get a little bit into this wide receiver room. But first of all, how's everything going down there where you're at right now?
It's going good. 4 grandbabies keeping me busy. 2 boys, 2 girls. So got a nice little mix right there. So
Nice.
they're beautiful. Keep me on my toes and just loving every minute of it.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
And I got my son, he's football started back up today. So he's back out on the field getting ready to roll. They actually moved him into the running back room. So
Wow.
he's starting on all the special teams, and now they got him in the running back room. So we'll see how that all works out.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I know you were championing for him here the last time we were together on the show. So that's great. So you got a shot at the running back room. So he was originally, he's a wide receiver, right?
Yeah, he played the slot.
Okay.
Played the slot, and he'd been asking me, Dad, I think I might want to try that running back room out. And he's asked me all these questions, and it worked out well because they actually came to him, and the running backs coach is also the special teams coach who absolutely loves him.
Nice.
And so I think it's a good opportunity for him. I think he'll get out on the field some, hopefully on that offensive side of the ball this year. And, then he'll have 2 more years after this one. So, we'll keep ramping him up.
Awesome. That's absolutely fantastic, man. I can't believe it started today. What a coincidence. Have you on the show and moving in today.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, this, Brad, it's only going to benefit him because not only is he going to understand the wide receiver position, he'll get to know the running back position and special teams. They're not going to not be able to find a spot for him to see some field time.
Absolutely. And that's what I told him. I said, the more valuable you are, the better you are, and better off you are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of when we get into this wide receiver room, I think it plays a lot into that as well. So we'll be anxious to dive into that a little bit. But yeah, we're excited about it. He plays against IU this year in Indiana. Of course, I went to Anderson University, and just so happened they're doing a fundraiser, putting in a new stadium at the facility. So they asked me to speak that Friday before. Nice. So it worked out well to where I can do that, go down there, have it and talk with them on that Friday, and then head out to my son's game on Saturday morning. So it should be fun.
Awesome. That's great, man. Keeping it right in the family. We're rooting hard for him.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yes.
So
sir.
are you training with him too? I know you have a big background in all that performance stuff. So are you training with him hard?
I don't, just because they've got their own protocol, and it's kind of hard to dive into what their system of what they're trying to progress him to a certain. I feel like if I jump in the middle of what they're trying to do, and I'm not in their locker room, I'm not in their training room to really do it with them per se and to add to it. So really it's only in the off time when he's not actually in session do we talk about it. We do a little work together, but during the season and when they're actually training, and because I really love their strength and conditioning coach. I mean, Lou is phenomenal, and he does a great job. So, I feel real comfortable with where he's at there.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's got to be almost like a too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing, right? Like when you get to that point, you don't want to do more harm than good and whatever else. Yeah, I can see that.
You're developing your speed, your strength, your weight in certain aspects of the game. You don't want to overload your fast twitch fiber muscles per se, and when they're doing speed drills, and I'm turning around doing speed drills with him too. And, so it's kind of, let them progress. And I think they've done a good job with him so far. So I haven't felt like I've needed to intervene per se, so anyway, I think they're doing a good job.
Awesome. We got Dr. Bruce McKellar in the comments right now saying, "Go Bills, Brad. Thanks for joining the 24/7 gang." You can check out Dr. Bruce with the injury report over at buffpandemonium.com/blogs. He's putting out some really great stuff, and with OTAs and then training camp coming up, there'll be some good articles up there from the good doctor himself. What's up, Doc? We got Mary Jane Brownhughes saying good evening. What's up, Mary Jane?
Hey.
And Ellen Larch. Hey, Brad. Glad to see you back with 24/7.
Glad to be back.
Hell yeah. Let's see here. John Roberts here. good segue here. We got OTAs underway right now at One Bills Drive, and he says DeMar did great in OTAs today. I know that they have 3 weeks of OTAs going on. This is the start of the second week. Tuesdays are the only media days that they have, so you're not going to get any sort of sneak peek into what's going on, except for Tuesdays. So all those recycled shots you're getting of Josh Allen hooking up with Curtis Samuel and all these new dudes that you're really itching to see, they're going to be on repeat week to week. But today was a media day. Next week they have another media day, and then it's done until mini camp, and then they go on their big break. So we have had some action going on. We had some press conferences with Joe Brady, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir. Scooter, I don't know how tuned in you are with all this, but what are your general thoughts about what's going on over there at One Bills Drive?
Well, me being a quarterback guy, you obviously have to force yourself to be a wide receiver guy because you guys are best friends, especially in OTAs, and especially when you have 90% of your wide receiver room brand new guys. And obviously we've seen Josh grow as the years progress. And what I'm liking out of this whole situation is, and I know it happens everywhere, but just to hear the stories of how you come together and you mend as a group in the locker room, on the field. But Brad can attest to this. It's different kind of banter back and forth. You're on the field when you're in the locker room. The fact that Josh Allen is having these guys to his house, I think one of the examples is Marquez Valdez-Scantling actually went to Josh's house during his visit, and that's what convinced him to come out to Buffalo and sign a contract. The fact that Josh is having everybody to his house, having dinner, and actually getting to know these guys on a more intimate, personal level, I think is awesome to hear, especially during OTAs and on top of the field in the locker room like he's doing. So that's what I'm most excited about. Obviously, we know that they don't have pads on. They're not live one-on-one against 7. Well, they do 7-on-7, but it's not 11-on-11 hardcore going after each other. So you don't really see a lot. You're just trying to get the muscles and all that stuff in motion and back to it. I like to see the camaraderie part of it and the fact that these guys are coming in together and hanging out outside of football. And I had a question based off of this for Brad. We've seen during the four falls, the video that's out there, the 4 Bills Super Bowls that they lost.
I refuse to watch it.
Yeah, and then the documentation on Jim Kelly's parties. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I know Allen has his friends over, his wide receivers, to get together and have their thing. Did Jim have a lot of people over to his house to not just parties to sense, but hang out, have dinner, watch movies, and do all that stuff?
I'll be honest with you. I think it was more of the ones that remember after games. It wasn't necessarily in the preseason or before it started, which I think probably would have been a little beneficial too if we'd have had that. And maybe he might have had some of the other guys over. Andre might have been over there, and and James and some of those guys. But it wasn't a well-known thing that he did that. Even though I count him a great personal friend of mine, and when he was at the facility, he did nothing but treat me with respect and tried to help me every way he could. And so I got nothing but admiration for him. Love the guy, love his tenacity, love his football play. In fact, he loved the game the way he did, but he was willing to help, and I always have a special place in my heart for him, and always go to bat for him.
It's one of what we were talking about right before the show began was the difference between practices back then compared to now. And Scott, I don't know if they're probably too tired to go to Jim Kelly's house doing doubles and wearing pads. Nowadays, they don't wear pads and they're doing one practice a day for a couple hours. They have all the energy in the world to go out afterwards. Back then, I don't think they had the energy to do it. That's just my opinion.
Wow, you're right.
We were.
What's doubles? What's a double session?
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on that quick, and maybe this is a good time to bring that up because we just dotted it real fast. But the NFLPA right now is currently trying to push moving OTAs and all spring training activities closer to training camp, and essentially extending training camp, and then giving the players a longer break between, the end of the season and the start of off-season workouts. And I asked Brad about that a little bit, and he had an interesting take, I think. And so what do you think about that, Brad?
I'll be honest with you. I like the earlier time. I look at it this way. It's our job. I mean, who else gets 4 or 5 months off if they're looking at that?
Yeah.
You know, when I played, obviously the years I was there, we went to the Super Bowl every year. So, you know, we went all the way into the end of January, into February, and basically had the rest of the month of February off. And then we started back in March. I mean, our off-season training started back. A lot of that was younger guys coming in. I mean, you know, Jim and some of the older guys, you know, they might come in a little bit later because they obviously knew how to work out on their own and do their thing. But they were still coming in and working out. So, you know, I like it for us. I like it for the fans. I think it gets people excited for football season. They get to start talking about it a little bit more. For us, I think it's good just for camaraderie. And I think like now, like you're talking about all the new guys that are in this locker room, the more time you can spend together, the better off it's going to be, and the faster they're going to gel, and the faster they're going to come to their identity this year. And, you know, good thing is they got a lot of veterans in there too. So it's not a bunch of just new guys that's not played or rookies so you do have some leaders in there that can come in and help facilitate that. But you still got your timing. You still got to get, you know, you and the quarterback's got to get on the same page. You know, so you can never get enough of that.
Yeah, I think I can really see both sides of this, because for me, absolutely, as a fan, I want it as soon as I can get it. Like, I want to hear what's going on, you know, however that season ends. If it's not ending in a Super Bowl, I want to move and turn the page as soon as possible. I want to know what these new guys are doing and what you're doing. And, oh, man, look at how good he looks, you know, in pads or in a T-shirt and a helmet, you know, or whatever. So I can see that a lot. I think it was interesting because Curtis Samuel had a little bit of a interview today with some of the reporters, and they mentioned what the NFLPA was talking about, and the only thing he really had to say was like, I don't know if I want to do 2 months of training camp. Like, I you know, it's already like X amount of weeks long. I don't know if I want to do 2 months. He goes, but also, like, if I was here for like, you know, 4 or 5 seasons, maybe I wouldn't feel like I'd have to, like, I really needed to come to OTAs. But then he ping-ponged back to, well, but I could help other players, like younger players. So he was ping-ponging it too, you know? And I was just like, yeah, I mean, entertainment-wise, hell yeah, give it to me all year round. I want it all the time. But, you know, player-wise, I could see the split. What do you think about it, Jerry?
Yeah, Embedded was on. I watched the first episode a couple days ago, and Shakir and Bernard, I think it was it Bernard or Benford? Yep. Bernard. They were itching 2 weeks after the season ended. So these young bucks come in and they want to get after it too, especially after how the season ended. So to have a controlled practice compared to these guys are still working out. It's just coming to the facility and doing it now. And I'm going to be all over the place here, but Curtis Samuel just, you know, he's finding a reason why being there would be beneficial, why the change would be beneficial, because he'd make it work. And that's the veteran, and that's the leadership that he has that he can offer to this team. But again, with these young kids, they want to get right back into it too, because they're spry and their bodies are young. So they want to keep training and get better. So I bet you it'd be 50-50 down the line what players would want, but it's you know, beneficial either way, I think.
There was a lot of talk too about this kind of being the leverage for the league to get their 18 games and to get rid of another preseason game and all that jazz. So Scooter, what do you think, man?
I'm looking at this twofold. I'm looking at it as a fan base wants to see the brand new toys that the Bills brought in. Obviously, we just had the draft in April and then free agency frenzy in March. Of course, we want to see it. I want to see them wearing their number. I want to see them out there catch Keon Coleman catching the ball from Josh Allen. We can already see what that touchdown quick slant looks like. And then you have the other part of it, which is the business part. The Bills do their OTAs in Orchard Park, and then they do their the spring training in this year will be at St. John Fisher. So are they going to combine them and then obviously get up and move everything, or are they going to have a practice here, go home, reestablish yourself, and then meet again at the college? I think any team that does that in the NFL would probably rather do it that way than having it all crammed together.
The other thing I was kind of thinking about was like when you draft your rookies, like, don't you want them in the facility like as soon as possible to kind of get them acclimated at least for like a week or two?
Yeah, it's like your pre-K guy riding a school bus the year before he actually gets on.
Yeah.
You got to acclimate. You got to acclimate them to this facilities. Know what they're going into. know what to look for, know what kind of meals are going to be ready for lunchtime. That's
Yeah.
the big thing right there.
Yeah.
Food.
I think part of the thing too is like you're saying, 18 games is a long season.
Yeah.
And what Curtis was saying too is why make that season even longer by running your OTAs into training camp as well? Why not give us a little bit of a breather in between those two things? We're not running this thing all the way through and give our bodies a little bit of rest in between that little session there. So, I like it that way. To me, it just makes sense to all the way around. Again, especially for the younger players to be in there as much as they possibly can. But as a younger player, you're learning the business side of it too. But as a younger player, you want the older guys there so you can learn. Because there's things that when I came out, I can tell you right now, is as green as they come. I mean, coming from an NAIA Division III school, man, I didn't have a clue about being a professional athlete and the training that goes on and the things that you need to do in the film room and, on your own and route running. And I mean, there's so much I had to learn and I couldn't do that on my own. I had to be either around the guys, watching them and picking up what they were doing, or Jim pulled me aside. Hey, I need you to cut this a yard shorter than what you're running it at. It's a little bit too deep. The backer's going to catch you in that, whatever it might be, but you got to have those veterans teaching you too. So it's kind of not just, and that's where the maturity of your veterans come in, wanting to be there too, because they're only going to be as good as the guys that are either going to come in and back them up when they need breathers, or for the whole team in general to be as good as they're going to be. So, when you get a mature football team, and one thing I feel like that I've seen so far from who they've drafted, some of these new guys, it seems like a great locker room right now. I mean, it seems like you got a bunch of guys that really just want to come and play football and love the game. Ken Coleman, man, I think he's going to bring a lot of fun to the locker room. He's got a fun personality. I enjoy listening to him, and all the guys that I've talked to, or I've not talked to, but I've listened to talk about Buffalo, the guys that are drafted, I'm talking about at this point, they all seem to have, I don't know, I'm sure it's his philosophy. They all seem to have some of that in common, where they're just hungry, man. They're just excited about being able to be in Buffalo, playing football, and hopefully, bringing a championship there. So, I'm excited about that. I think the locker room right now, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody that's here or no longer here, but I think drama plays a big role in that. And I think, as much as I hate seeing certain people leave, I also think it frees Josh up for Josh to be the leader that he is and he wants to be, but he also has respect for the game and guys that are veterans too. But I think there might have been a little more of a dynamic going on than we all even realized, during that time, because it was played down. But I'm excited to see how he leads this team this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great point, and all those points that you alluded to, I 100% agree. I loved that guy when he was here, 100%.
Yep.
I went to bat for him. We talk about it on the show almost every week. And I think it can be true that he was one of the best receivers in franchise history, probably, right? That can be true, and it can also be true that it was time for him to move on. And it's kind of like that forest fire analogy I like to use, where you got to have that fire so that the growth, the undergrowth, the new growth can come. And and I think that I definitely think maybe some of those balls that were forced, or maybe the way I perceive it was some of these balls were forced to a guy who demanded the ball, and it wasn't quite as spread out as much as we would have liked to see. And now you're kind of on an even playing field where everybody's joking around about us having a bunch of 2s and 3s and 4s. Well, okay, well, who are you throwing the ball to? And who do you really know is any good? And maybe that's a little more, maybe not more exciting, but the same amount of exciting to me, the unknown and who can break out of this group. So I like that point a lot.
Brady brought that up a little bit in the fact that he said that there's a lot of mouths to feed they're on this offense that deserve to be fed. So get ready for it. And that's a prime example of that one guy that we keep talking about leaving is again, like you said, allowing Allen to open it wide open. So everybody's going to get a taste. And it's just going to be who you're going to cover. Each week can change in and out of who you have to key on and who you don't. Because I just keep thinking about Kincaid. Man, we still got that tight end there that's up and coming, and he's going to be a huge piece in that centerpiece with all the other toys floating around him. It's going to be beautiful.
I'd be remiss if I didn't pause for 1 second to say we are part of the Buff Fan Base Network and very proud to be. And as part of that, we're sponsored by 26 Shirts. Go over to 26shirts.com, see what Del Reed and the gang got cooking up. It's always the freshest threads, the best tees. You spend your money, you help out a family in Western New York that really needs it. It's all communal. They've raised pretty near $2 million now.
They're at 1.9 something.
1.9, yeah.
Kicking butt and taking names.
So, hey, man, how about the Fandemonium is the people that push them over the edge. You go over there and buy something hot and help everybody out, man. And it's a great time. Go check it out. I did want to talk about the wide receiver room right now. I know we've been talking about the wide receiver room, but I'd like to kind of go through the players and definitely get the panels. And of course, you guys are killing it with the comments. We got 739 watching live right now. Thank you so much. Get you guys' opinion on who we think might make this team, who's a dark horse, that kind of thing. So real quick, our wide receiver room looks like this. We got Khalil Shakir, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. We got Justin Shorter, Terrell Shavers, Keon Coleman, Chase Claypool, KJ Hamler, Brian Thompson, Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, Andy Isabella, and Xavier Johnson. That's what the room looks like, without forgetting that we have Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Quentin Morris. Brad, out of those names, and I know I just listed off about 45 names, but who do you got? Who do you think's bringing some juice here? Who are you excited to see?
Man, that's a good question. I'll go back to the guy I always start with. I think last year when we talked, and that's Khalil Shakir. A lot of people I know are saying, Diggs took a lot of people away from. I'm just telling you, I'm high on that kid. I just think he knows how to get open. He made big plays in big games when he had to have it done. And he's just only getting better year after year after year. I'm expecting him to have a great year this year. So I'm excited about that. From what I'm hearing, and it's just some of the news that I've been listening to and some of the people's been talking that Hollins is more of like a leader, that he's stepping up and he's actually, making sure people are competing and doing the things they need to do. So I'm excited to see him. I look at this. Well, they got six receivers or 6'4" or better.
Mm-hmm.
They got 3 or 4 guys running 4.3s. You got Claypool, 4'4", and he's 238 pounds, can jump 40 inches vertical. I mean, the guy's a specimen. So it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait for training camp to really pull some of this out, because I think I've got 5 or 6, I think, I would think are pretty good shots at being there. But then I'm not sure about after that where you go, but I know there's going to be at least one surprise, because that 6th person is going to be a special teams guy that's going to give them contributions on the field other than receiver. So it might not be one of these guys that you're thinking, maybe getting paid more money and everything else, but if he ain't a special teams guy and he's falling down around that 5th to 6th receiver, he might end up being one of those guys that they got to let go because they're not going to put him on the practice squad at that kind of money. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a great problem for Josh to have, I think, because you're going to have some competition out there where people are going to be going after it every day.
100%. I heard this great thing on WGR this morning. Sal Capaccio was talking about how if Stephon Diggs was in the conversation with this wide receiver room, we'd be talking about how it's the best wide receiver room in the NFL, like with the best competition right now. And with him removed, all of a sudden it gets knocked down to like the bottom of the league or something by like a lot of pundits. And to me, that's crazy. One guy does not make the whole batch. How can they be this good and then this bad just because of one guy,
Say one thing. We can name one guy over in Kansas City and what he had to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Our room is a lot better
than
that room. I mean, I think some of these guys, if you look at their history, I think Josh makes everybody better for one. But some of these guys are pretty elite and just haven't really had an opportunity to play with a quarterback to help them even step it up that next level. So I think we got a lot better receiver room than what people are giving Buffalo credit for. And I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
I hope so. I hope that surprise. That's what I want. Because like, to me, I think being up here, like Curtis Samuel, to me, he's a lock, is like a great player, a great talent that hasn't had great QB play to showcase, really. I mean, he's done really well with mediocre, and we've talked about that on the show before too. Scooter, what are you thinking about this wide receiver room, man? Who's the guy that's giving you juice right now?
The guy that's giving me juice is it's actually two guys, but it's one specifically, a guy that is taking advantage of the opportunity he has to start over, and that's Chase Claypool. Obviously,
Better change your answer, Jerry.
we're hearing a lot of conversation about, and it's one thing to say one thing and do another. Obviously, we all know that. But Chase Claypool, guys, and I mentioned a couple shows ago, he came into a situation to a quarterback that was compared, that Josh Allen was compared to, in a Ben Roethlisberger, a big body guy that could stay in the pocket and throw the high ball and locate that ball to his advantage. And he excelled his rookie year and did really well his second year. And of course, we know what happened afterwards and falling off the train a little bit. But if he's going to take advantage of this opportunity and make the best out of it, he's still got all the tools in the world to be a number one wide receiver in the NFL. And right now, it's looking like he's 4 or 5. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Guys, we got to come up with 240 targets that were taken away from us in this offseason with Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs leaving. I wouldn't mind at all if you split 60 targets between our 4 starting wide receivers there, and they'll benefit from it because these guys all make the most out of their opportunities. Obviously, Keon Coleman is a guy we haven't seen yet, but Curtis Samuel, like you mentioned, Swank, lack of quarterback, but still puts up the numbers, makes the most out of his opportunities. Shakir, the amount of targets and catches he had, very high percentage, and yards after catch, makes the most out of his opportunities. So if this group of people can do that, Valdez Scantling Marquez, he's 6'4", guys, and runs a 4.3 40. We asked for size, we asked for speed, we got it all. And the sky, I think the roof is unlimited right now. It's just how dedicated these guys are making to make a change and accepting the role that they're going to be in, because they will be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th wide receivers on the roster.
I'll tell you, when you're talking about the top of this wide receiver room, like the top of the depth chart just now, without seeing a lot, but Khalil Shakir is one of those guys that's right up top. Curtis Samuel is one of those guys that's right up top. Keon Coleman. Khalil Shakir in his press conference today was saying, if the team wants me to run block every single snap, I'll run block. If the team wants me to run a go route every single snap, I'll do it. Whatever the team wants me to do, that's what I'm going to do. And a guy that is that high up the depth chart, that's been on this team for a couple of years and had good success last year, that's saying that to the national media, that's saying something to that room, that like this kind of tone has changed, I think, to where like all of us are here to do one thing, and that's win. So I love that. I love the Khalil Shakir. I love it all. Curtis Samuel, same notion. Said that the room was the same. It was like a family. He felt very comfortable there. It's a great room of guys. Like it's already getting me jazzed up. It can't get me jazzed up.
I think you just got a bunch of guys, like I said, that just love football too. I mean, it's obviously you're getting paid. It's a job, and you want to make the money for your family and your future and all that. But you also got to love what you do. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like we got a bunch of guys in that room now that just love to play football, and it's refreshing to see that, get so tired of these guys that just prima donnas. And I'm not just talking, but I'm talking about around the whole league. It's just, my gosh, man, be happy and honored to get the opportunity to play this game, man, for a living and love it, So, mm-hmm. And Curtis Samuel, man, he's a 4.3 guy. It's not like the guy can't move, Right. So we've got all 4 of those top 4, except Keon Coleman's a little bit slower, but I guess in the combine, his top end speed was 22 mile an hour. So that's pretty daggone good.
Yeah.
But, you got 4.4 and 4.3 guys, and some 6'4", 230, and, 6'4", 206, so it's, it's pretty exciting.
It is. It's definitely a different, physical trait kind of room than we've ever seen, I think, in Buffalo in the recent years here. Like, you got these huge guys, and you got a bunch of scrappy guys that are out to prove something. You know, MVS,
Right.
Claypool, Samuel. I mean, how even Keon Coleman, you know, he's getting dogged about his 40 time, and he's getting dogged about getting bumped into the second round. Like, I don't know. Everything I've seen from all these guys is like, I'll show you. And when you come to Buffalo, somehow the Bills get the best version of all of these players, and then they either go on or they stay. But that's it, you know. So, Jerry, I've tried so hard to give you a long time to find a different guy to talk about right now. Patrick Hughes says Jarrod just got robbed by Scott.
Robbed. No, if you guys are talking about the one guy, Swank, who made the room last year, that made that Bills room the best room in the league, and that was Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Deontay Hardy, Trent Sherfield, and Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
Two of those guys. I love Gabe Davis. I think he did well here. Stephon Diggs obviously did, and Khalil Shakir's coming up. But to Deontay Hardy and Trent Sherfield, I think there were prospects that came in that we were all hoping would produce something outstanding, and they really didn't. This year, before we even get started, we have Keon Coleman, rookie, showing a lot of potential already. Khalil Shakir, up and coming, had a great second half of the season. Showed the NFL that he is to be taken serious at not only the number 2 wide receiver, but potentially number 1 on some other teams. You know, Curtis Samuel, a known veteran who, again, like you guys have said, hasn't really played with that receiver. Claypool, a guy who was interviewed that said this locker room feels different than the locker rooms he's been in before. There's more of a family-oriented thing. They even have once a week, like a family type of movie or gathering that they have to do, and he feels like loved here already. And then, you know, we have MVS coming in again, playing with Mahomes. He was getting wide open. He's just knocked for his drops, but he was still getting wide open. Like what Scott referred to a couple of weeks ago, this guy was still depended on to make these big plays to end the Bills season in the playoffs, to catch a Super Bowl touchdown and catch a game-winning ceiling reception in the Super Bowl. So Mahomes trusted this man. Now he's coming to us, and Josh Allen's going to have him to play with. I was looking at those are my top 5, I think, you know, those 5 receivers. And then we have the other 4 or 5 that I just couldn't put them in the 6th spot or 7th spot. But I've heard good things about Shorter. You know, he's a beast. He's coming up and he's making good plays. But it's just like Brad keeps saying, I'm excited to see what this receiver room has to bring. And it's going to be a different dynamic because I think it's going to be a whole different variety of players that we're going to see out there rather than kind of the protocol players that we've seen the last couple of years. And Brady's going to have his fun playing with all these toys.
Yeah. I mean, I think that last spot definitely going to come down to special teams, right? Whoever shines the highest out of that lower tier group, they got it. Also, do they go full in on the big body, big guy, out physical us kind of like wide receiving core plan that they have like that it seems like they have right now, or they're trying out right now with these big body physical guys that are like, okay, you know, maybe Curtis can scorch you, James Cook can scorch you, but these other dudes are just going to go up and they're going to be bigger and badder and taller and catch it above you and come down with the ball. Like these contested catches, we're going to make it happen. You know, I think it really comes down to that kind of like game plan, which way they lean, you know, and where they ultimately want to be in their offense. Joe Brady had a couple interesting comments today in his press conference today, too. And the one that I found the most interesting was when he was asked about the type of offense he was going to call. He said very clearly, this is Josh Allen's offense.
Yeah.
And that gave me some goosebumps, man, because I was like, if you're going into that with this mindset, like, that's what I want. I want you to build it completely around it. I don't want Josh to go out there and look like he's calling a play that he's not either comfortable with or isn't going to have fun with. Go out there and let Josh be Josh and call things around him and have a blast, man, because that's the best version of Josh Allen we get. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to remind us, Swank, these receivers, these top 4 or 5 receivers that are coming in, it's not their first. Keon Coleman's the first year, but the 4 or 5 other guys that are going to be there have played years and have their experience. So Josh Allen can come in, let me play with these guys. They have all the experience in the world. We'll talk in the huddle. Let me call the play and let's go.
Absolutely. Let's see here. John Robert is concerned about MVS and his rock hands. Brad, catching the ball in the NFL. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, it's easy for us to sit here and be like, come on. But is that something, to me, I feel like that's something that can be taught. Am I wrong?
No, it can. I think what people don't realize is how fast that ball really is moving. They got fitted in such tight windows. Unless you're actually on that field and running beside and doing it, you really can't quite understand how fast things move down there. So, I remember the first, I might even mention this once before, my first training camp with Jim Kelly, first throw he ever threw me, a little 12-yard button hook, threw it, and it went right, split my hand, just went right through him. I mean, I was never used to catching, for my quarterback, nothing that fast, with that spin on it. So, what did I do? I went straight to the jugs machine. I mean, I started getting to that jugs machine and cranking up as high as I could and just, having them shoot. So my hands would just get used to the way that would just, hit my hands, and I could, kind of let it come back as I needed to. So there definitely some techniques there that you can work on for that. I don't know if he was just, I don't know, for him, if he's just having issues with his hands, if it was just there was something else going on, for him, or what. I think I remember him playing earlier. I don't remember him dropping that many passes before, so I don't think he's necessarily just got bad hands. Just can run fast, but he's got bad hands. I think he's got good hands. So that's another thing. I think iron sharpens iron. So when he gets into training camp, to me, that'll be one of the things of whether he's one of those guys, to me, that's not guaranteed to be on that roster, even though he's got all the pedigree to be. But if all these other guys are making every catch and running all the route and doing what they're supposed to do, and then he's dropping passes here and there in training camp, hey, I don't care what your resume says. Yeah, we're going to go off what people are doing. So that's the good thing about the locker room and the receiver room, is the fact that they're going to have to give it and be focused every day out there, because it's going to be consistency, especially once you move past those first 3 or 4 guys.
Now, we're a Bills podcast, so we tend to focus more on the Bills, and I don't know what a lot of other teams are doing, but that wide receiver might want to go to the tight end room for a second and talk to Dawson Knox about his little eye therapy and catching different things, so that might help. So he's got players in the locker room that have already experienced that are going to be like, hey, come over with me. I got something that you can practice with.
That's a great point.
I got a question for you, Brad. I know the jugs machine is something that's used quite a bit. Is there an option for the jugs machine to throw not non-tight spirals, or is it always a nice tight spiral coming out of there?
Well, most of the time you're catching it with a nice tight spiral because you don't want to break a finger, depending on what's going on. But you can adjust it. Yeah, you can get a wobblier pass. You can set those wheels however you want them to make that ball spin. Even for a left-hand quarterback, you can make it spin the opposite way for you to get used to catching from, because it's a lot different catching from a left-handed quarterback. The spin's totally different. So you catch it from a right guy. Now you got, it's people don't realize that, but it's a lot different. But yeah, that jug machine can throw it however you want. I mainly was doing it just for the speed more than anything else, just for my hands to get used to that ball coming that fast.
Yeah. And then there's the other thing, you take it not only just the velocity, but how fast the quarterback can tight that spiral does spin. And if you don't have the calluses and all that stuff on your hands that are prepared for that, it rips. It really does. I'm a quarterback guy myself. My brother can attest to this. I could spin it pretty fast, and it does. It can rip your hands if you're not ready for it. Not only the velocity, but the spin of the spiral can hurt you too.
I had calluses like this. No, but on Embedded, Shakir was playing or out with Eric Moulds, doing his training with Eric Moulds, and he asked him, hey, you're not wearing gloves. He's like, I forgot my gloves last year, and I realized I was catching pretty well. So every off season, I don't use gloves to catch the ball. So with the technology of the gloves nowadays, you put them on, and if you can catch the ball whipping without gloves on, you'll definitely be able to catch the ball with gloves on nowadays.
And see, I was a little bit different in the sense that back then I use the gloves because of the speed to help
little
it,
padding.
Absorb.
to absorb that thing.
Yeah.
So, I didn't go out there without gloves on ever.
Brad's wearing goalie gloves from soccer.
Yeah, that's right.
The man's got 14-inch fingers.
Yeah, I think half of us would go to catch it and
Crazy.
our wrists would just go. Yeah, I like that point about Dawson Knox, man. I can't remember who it was. John Robert, I think, man. John, thanks for commenting so much, brother. I remember I really liked MVS when he was in Jacksonville. I don't know why. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to him outside of the fact that like anytime I saw him, it looked like he was catching balls and making plays. So for me, I don't know. I think I'd be interested in to see what his stats were. Again, was it a slump year? Was it, something weird going on in the season? And at least he had somebody like Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's going to be, adjusting to Josh Allen, even though we know Josh throws it a little bit faster. But like, at least he's not making this huge leap from like, somebody that wasn't throwing with that velocity to somebody like Josh Allen who whistles it right in there. So,
well, Scott,
I do have the stats up. I do have the stats up real quick. Swank, it was Green Bay Packers, not Jacksonville.
Oh, my bad. I'm my bad. I knew it was a green team.
He played with Rodgers. His rookie year had a great year, 73 targets, only 3 drops. 3 drops the following. Then he had the drop season 2020. Mm-hmm. The very next year, 0 for the Packers with 55 targets. His last 2 years with the Chiefs, 5 and 3. I did see a stat last week that only gave him 2 drops last year, but it was the fact that he only had 40 targets. So 2 drops, 40 targets. That's like 5 drops a year. If you're going to 100, that's 5%. That's still higher than anybody wants. But I mean,
and he's playing on a team that gets televised everywhere, so it's going to be noticed more than anybody else. So
I still want him to catch everything. I just want him to catch everything in Buffalo.
Those 3 drops are one thing, but the 3 catches to clinch the divisional playoff, to clinch the AFC championship game, and a couple touchdown catches in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes trusts this guy to finish off games. That should tell you a lot right there in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Dang Skippy. It is 8:48. We got 926 people tuning in live right now. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Don't forget we are part of the Buff Fanbase Network and sponsored by 26 Shirts. Go to 26shirts.com. Give them your whole paycheck. Just sign it right over to them. They'll do great things with it. It's amazing. Guys, I really love this conversation tonight. It's really helping me get through this off-season slump. But Brad, I'm wondering, when you were a player and you had these little breaks in the season or whatever else, I mean, what did you normally do? Was it was all family time or did you try to recoup?
Primarily family time, which for me was recouping anyway. So that's what you do. You spend so much time during the season away from family. You're always at the facility. I don't think people even realize that either. I mean, coming in the league, that's what I thought too. Oh man, this is going to be a great job. 2 hours a day and I go home, but no, you're there 9, 10 hours a day. And, you're putting your life, I mean, it's your job, it's your livelihood. So, when you get that downtime, you want to make sure the people that are most important in your life, get your time. And because you sacrifice so much of it during the rest of the season. So yeah, for me it was always just family time and getting back and seeing my mom, my dad, my brothers. Obviously, I was married after my 2nd year, so my wife and I getting a chance to just do things together for a little bit. A little short time that we have for that, but that's basically what it was for me.
Nice. I mean, I do think that time is absolutely needed and warranted, right? Like, I mean, people talk about this like players are, like, oh, they're making all this money and they're playing a game. And it's like, we've talked to so many players and these two have played that, like, it's not just, oh man, I decided to pick up a football when I was 17 and I was just really good at it. It's like for a lot of them, it's like it's been ingrained in them since they were young. They go through and dedicate their whole life to it and then get to a point. And yeah, it's cool. I'm interested to know like what you guys did to kind of reset and get ready to get back and get into it. So
Swank, I'd be awesome to see if if Brad kept notes when he was playing in college and in the NFL compared to what his son's doing now. Just the now, I mean, if someone sees you're talented, they're getting at you when you're young. They're making sure that your diet's correct, that you're seeing the right exercise performance people. And that's even before you get to college, especially for D1. They want you to come in with everything, with the great strengthening and, fitness gurus. They want you squared away right away. And I don't know if it was like that back in the day, but I'm sure that's gone crazy with all that stuff with the health sciences and the performance art, performing sciences.
Yeah, it was a lot different back when I was playing, especially from where I went to school. I mean, we didn't even really have a facility for any of that. It was everything basically on your own for the most part. We had a little bit of weight training, but I go see what my son goes through now. I'm like, my gosh, I mean, it's night and day with him. Of course, he's D1. I was NAIA Division III, so big difference when you're looking at that. And I guess D1 when we're paying the guys full scholarships, and so they can demand a little bit more out of them too, or expect a lot more out of them when they're paying them, basically to be there and their education and food and everything else. So, I think it's totally different. He loves it though. He loves the game. So I mean, for him, he's chomping at the bits to be there and do it. And I'll do another brag on him again too. His group won the off-season training drills and all that again this year, whereas last year he won the receiver room. And so this year they didn't do individuals, but they did teams. And so their team won it again this year. So, I'm pretty proud of his work ethic and what he's doing to put himself in that position to be able to play. So, and you only do that when you love the game. You don't, if you don't love that game, you don't do that. And so we'll keep on keeping on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jerry, I think you're onto something, man. I think that we need to have a father-son lamb combo show one of these times and kind of get
he would love that. See,
Yeah.
I'm technologically disadvantaged. He's Twitter, Snapchat. He got all that stuff down.
It'd be awesome. We should hook it up sometime.
You got to teach me some things here.
Camera's over here, Dad. Camera's over here.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple questions that have come in. I think we'll do a little round robin rapid fire with these, and then hit some final thoughts and say goodnight to y'all because we're getting up to the 9 o'clock hour. But our boy Patrick Hughes, long time OG for the 24/7 Buff Pandemonium, says Brad Lamb, bold prediction. Who will be our top pass catcher this year?
I think that is going to be, and maybe it's going to be not even a receiver. It might be a tight end.
That's where I was leaning too. Yeah,
I hate to say it, but if it's not a tight end, I think Curtis Samuel is probably going to be one of the top ones in my prediction. I think he's got a good chance. I think him and Khalil both will Shakir will both fight for that. I think, in my opinion, I think Shakir is going to play a lot bigger role, probably even what some people think.
Yeah.
My bold prediction.
I like it. Clip this one. Clip this one for tomorrow.
Shakir deserves it. I mean, like we talked about the catch percentage and what he does when he has the ball in his hands. He's earned every target he gets this next coming season, and I'm rooting for him too, there, Brad, for sure.
I like him all the way around.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yards after catch, that break dancing move that he did towards the end of last season. I mean, he's 100% pure football through and through. Just, I don't know. I love the guy. Jerry, who do you think?
I'm just going to say Khalil Shakir is going to lead the way. I mentioned early in the show that that tight end in the middle of the field is going to occupy a lot of stuff that's going to allow the other players around him to succeed. And going back to the K gun, back in the day it was K gun because they based their offense on a tight end, Keith McKellar. This is what this year is going to be. Kincaid's first year proved that he can do it. Now that he's coming in the second year, they got to watch out for him. So it's going to open up the other stuff. So Khalil Shakir is going to benefit from that big time, and I think he'll be a leading receiver this year.
You think this is going to be Khalil gun? K gun too?
Khalil gun. Yeah, the K gun too. There you go. Bam. I like that.
Well, if you look at what they did there in Kansas City, man, that's basically that underneath that person there in that slot. You know, he wasn't throwing the deep ones all the time. He was eating those yards up underneath, and that's exactly what we can do.
I like it. I think that it's going to be like a three-way race or something. I think you know what I mean. And it's not even going to be like a clear guy. It's just going to be like whoever's making plays. It's going to be like a hot hand thing or a game plan thing. And that's really fun to me, man. I think if you're talking to me like 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh God, no, that doesn't sound fun at all. But now it seems fun with Josh Allen and everything else that we got going on. But I think James Cook is going to be getting a lot of balls thrown his way too. And maybe not in that top 3 conversation, but I just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, I see it. It's going to be a dead heat between Samuel, Kincaid, and Shakir. And I'm going to say Kincaid ekes it out. That's what I'm going to say. So
Cook was 4th last year in targets. So that's where that's put right there.
Yeah.
And I think Keon Coleman, I honestly think he's going to lead the team in targets. Obviously, wide receiver number 1 sometimes demands that with a less catch percentage because that's just the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to wide receiver number 1s. But I think they're going to try to have him be the X wide receiver, the number 1 wide receiver there. He won't demand the targets, but the play calls will. He'll get the most targets. Kincaid will get the most catches and be the more successful receiver on the team. That's where I'm going.
I like it. Dr. Bruce says K-Gun with Kincaid. I'm also looking, man. We got K-Gun with Khalil. We got K-Gun with Keon. There's a lot of Ks on this team. I think we just got to bring it back.
Knox
starts with a
Knox,
K.
Knox.
Khalil,
Yeah, K-Gun with Knox. It's like silent though. You know, I don't know if it works as well for the branding and the marketing. Let's see. Our boy Corey Blaine, who is another tried and true K-Gun supporter. He says, Brad Lamb, what do you think the Bills? I'm sorry. This is way too early to do this, but we got to do it, and we're all going to do it. What do you think the Bills' final record is this season?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You got 100 days to kick off.
I mean, it's 100 days to kick off.
What we got? 18 games this year? Is that what we got?
17, right?
Man, I'm going to say 13-5.
All right, 13 wins. There you go.
That's where I'm going to come in at. I tell you the thing that makes me a little bit nervous in our division this year, and it isn't the Dolphins. And you know, it's the Jets have got me a little bit nervous if he stays healthy with the line adjustments they've made. Yeah. Their defenses, you know, I think we play them the 6th game of the season, I think.
I can bring up the schedule here.
Well, I think Steve Tasker was talking about that even in one of his shows, and I was listening to him and talking about how they'll probably be in the top. You know, they'll probably be the number 1 defense coming in when we play Buffalo, because up to that point they play rookies and 2-year quarterbacks all the way up to that point.
Yep. Week 6, Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night with the Jets. So I think that's our competition as far as in our division this year, in my opinion. I just think we, you know, with that running game they got, if our big guys can shore up that run inside, and you know our outside guys can, you know, I tell you what, I'm pretty hyped on our new safety too. I think he's going to bring a nice little punch for us on that side. So. But I think that's going to be an interesting. But I think you know, 13-5, 14-4, somewhere right around there.
Swank and
put the
Kyle did
5%.
their schedules last week, and they had losses on there. I'm looking at their schedule prediction. I'm like, that's a lot of losses. But then when it was done, it was like 13-4 and 12-5. It's like, oh, that's a lot of losses, but they still had a really good record. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, when Kyle and
What I do, I gave. See, I've already given us a win in the playoffs.
I like it,
He
man.
gave us a.
I like it.
love it.
Well, the record suggests that we're going to have a bye week, so you're giving us a divisional win right off the
Yeah,
bat. So
there it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Real quick, guys, it's
Yeah.
9:01, and
You got to believe. I mean, that's just what that's
that's
what
what
we
it's all
do.
about, man.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
We got thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Dr. Bruce. Thank you, Corey.
Here we go, folks. We're in overtime.
That's right. It's after 9 p.m. and that means we're in overtime. And thank you to Buff fan base for putting up with us and going over all out of time. We'll probably never get syndicated, and we don't care. It's all for you guys. Thank you so much. We're at 992 viewers live. Let's pump that up over 1,000 before we sign off tonight. All right.
There we go.
I love it. All right. So we put Brad, we sacrificed him out there with this. So now we got to do it too. We can't leave him hanging. So we already know what mine was. Brad and I are on the same page here. So which Reed Broy are we gonna put out there first? Jerry's missed the most time recently. Jerry, go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, like I said, I saw Kyle and your predictions right out there laid out, and I saw a lot of L's. And like I said, it still looked like a lot of wins. So I'm right there in the 12, 13 wins for this team this year. But I'm also out there for a 17-0 season because hell, why not? What are you looking at, Jarrod? I don't know. But no, I think that I'm going to say it 13-4.
All right. Scooter?
I'll give a range 12 to 14 wins. I think it's only going to take 11 wins to win the AFC East. But I do agree.
Nope. I'm going to time out. I'm going to time you out right here. You got to put a number on it. You got to pick a number.
I'll go 13. I'll go 13 as well. And I do believe, like Brad said, Jets, I think, will be the biggest threat. But it all depends on Aaron Rodgers' play. I don't know if you guys have watched film on him. I know there's a lot of people watching his footwork and all that stuff, but he is not absorbing his backdrop, his side shuffles with his toes like he used to. He's landing on that heel pretty hard. That Achilles tendon is still bothering him. And I would hate for this to be. I like his play. I'm a quarterback guy. I would hate to see an injury come sooner in his career again. But if he's that stiff already as it is, come game time, everyone knows it's a whole different speed, and you're using muscles a lot harder than how you train them. I see it happening again, unfortunately. And if Aaron Rodgers goes down, I think it'll be
they're done.
Yeah.
I'll go back to what I said last season. He was on his way out before the Packers decided to trade him. It was like that news rejuvenated his interest in playing football. He went on the darkness retreat and all that stuff. And then, a couple plays into the season, he's done. And I don't wish that on anybody. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the legends of the game, right? Like he's going to go down as one of those great quarterbacks. I just don't buy it anymore. I didn't buy it his last season in Green Bay, maybe his last two seasons, really. Like, I know he went on those MVP running years and whatever. I don't know. Everybody in his class is they've gone. I really think the Jets shot themselves in the foot by bringing him to New York instead of either pursuing like a Lamar Jackson or drafting one of these hotshot quarterbacks and trying to build something solid around him. They won a good amount of games with Zach Wilson. That's really the only thing that was unstable about their whole play was the quarterback position. Everything else is like there for the taking. So I don't know. I think, bringing Aaron in and kind of like giving him his wide receiver room, which he complained about in Green Bay. And I know I said this again like 3 weeks ago, the same thing, but I just don't think that helped the Jets anyway. And it was a very Jets thing to do, so we'll see what happens.
I'm curious if you think how well they did without Aaron Rodgers and they like what they did without him. Think about just him being an average quarterback.
Right.
still going to be a pretty damn good football team.
Yeah.
Even without him being a superstar per se, because of their defense is so stout, and they always give us fits, man. It don't matter what's going on. You know, you thought we'd have just run them into the ground when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, but that didn't happen. You know, so it'll be an interesting. I always love for the season's getting amped up to see how this is all going to play out, but you know, we'll see where it goes.
That's the fun of it, man. You know, I love it. We talk about it a lot because there's a lot of I don't know, streams and pundits and all that stuff that they'll dog on the Bills, or they'll say something that is like so defeating, just so in case they're right at the end of the season, they can say, see what happened. But they're safe, because if they're wrong and we win it all, then, well, at least we won, right? You know? Yeah. So I don't know. We like to try to stay realistic, but also if you're not cheering for them to win every week, what's the point in being a fan, man? You got to think they can win every one, right?
17-0.
Changing your prediction?
Brad, do you ever make any games? Home games? Did you ever come up?
I do occasionally. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've been up for the last one. A lot of that, again, being that my son's, traveling every Saturday. I'm either, driving to his games, flying to his games, or they're home. So just kind of makes it tough unless he's on a bye week to actually, I don't come up there for a day and leave. I like to come out and spend a little time and go to the Anchor Bar, have some wings, see some familiar faces, hang out a little bit and enjoy it. So, and my son's dying to come too, which has just been really hard because he can't. Most of the time. So maybe if we can get a bye week where he's off and Buffalo's playing, it's a home game or something, maybe this year I'll be able to get him and we'll be able to come up and catch a game.
There's a hell of a Sunday night game against the 49ers. You should probably come to him. Just saying.
Yeah. That would be nice.
The panel might be there.
I was going to say, Scooter, have we secured those
what's that?
Have we secured those tickets or no?
Oh, he's holding for us.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, that seems to be, to me, like we're making the plan right now. As far as I understand, what Brad just said was he is coming, him and his son, and we're going to do a live stream. We're going to hang out, and it's going to be a great night. Sounds good.
I love it.
All right, guys, we made it. 1,022 live right now, viewing and chiming in. You guys have made this season absolutely the most fantastic that we've had in the 5 years that we've done this show, and we love you very much. It's your show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting us and the fan base and 26 shirts and great guests like our friend here, Mr. Brad Lamb. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to do a little final thought around the panel, and we're going to get out because, we're 10 minutes over, and that syndication is never going to happen if we don't stop. So, Brad, please lead us off. Give us your final thought. And again, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Again, thanks, guys, for having me. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, Bills Mafia, love y'all. Appreciate you and everything that you do for the Buffalo Bills and the players and the fans. There's nobody better. And so from my heart, hopefully to yours, we love you guys and we appreciate everything that you do. And these guys here, support them. They do a great job. They're fun to be around, good guys. Love being on the show with them. So make sure you support them and let's go Buffalo. Let's knock the doors down this year and take it home.
There you go.
Hell yeah, I love it. Thanks so much, Brad. Jerry, what do you got, man? This is your first final thought in 2 months, maybe? When's the last time you were on the show?
Yeah, it's about 3 weeks. And I think my camera just zoomed in, didn't it? Don't I look weird?
Yeah, you are
weird.
faded.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
What if I go back?
Faded.
It looks good. No, it looks good.
Good luck, actually.
Go ahead, Jerry. Just put your heart out there, buddy.
Again, I'm glad I'm back. Brad, you make this so easy. You coming on, it's like talking to an old friend, and I'll definitely be after you to get back on in the next couple of weeks or months. So be prepared for that message.
Absolutely.
Bills Mafia, thanks for participating. Vandemonium, it's always a great deal. I am here, even though I'm really blurry. Brad, we have another speedster coming on next week. Your other guy that you ran track against, Mr. Don Beebe, is going to be joining us. So tune in for that, so we can talk a little football with Don Beebe, Super Bowl champ. That's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to just come back and talk with Scott, Swank, and the Vandemonium. Let's do it. Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm a guest.
It's your show, dude. Thanks for having me. That was the best sign off I've ever heard you do. That was great.
I'm gonna try this thing.
Yeah. All right, Scooter, man. What do you got, buddy? Final thought.
Final thought is actually we didn't talk about it much in the I know Swanky had a show last week, and a lot of the times these holidays fall in between our shows, and I don't want to forget and say a prayer in remembrance for those that have sacrificed the ultimate sacrifice for what we're able to do here. Speak our opinions however we want, talk football, talk sports, and the veterans that have given the greatest sacrifice for our freedoms. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance, and many have done what many won't do for what we've got here today. So I just want to bring a remembrance to them. Thank you all for being in the military, and thank you to those that have passed and the families who have sacrificed their lives as well, and their time and their it's an ultimate sacrifice that none of us will understand. And I'm extremely grateful. We are here at 24/7 Buff Vandemonium, so thank you with the bottom of our hearts.
Nice, man. That's why we have everybody do it, because I was all focused on something else. So thank you for remembering to do that. And yeah, thank you so much. Guys, next week we have Mr. Don Beebe joining us. We're trying to get every wide receiver that's ever played for the Buffalo Bills. That's our whole thing. Yeah, Don's coming on. He's got a new book out, and we're really excited for that. So join in. Patrick was asking, I think it was Patrick. He was wondering if you could call in. I think I can hook that up. We'll see what happens here. That's something that we should be doing anyway, I think, We got to use Scott's phone, though, because mine doesn't have a headphone jack in it. So maybe we'll figure that out here for future shows. I'll let you know for sure. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, you can catch us every single Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or X or wherever you're watching us. Instagram, actually. We're on Instagram now. Wow. And don't forget to support the Buff fan base. Don't forget to go to 247buffandemonium.com and 26shirts.com and give them all sorts of love. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We love the hell out of you. And go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Jarrod.
Hey, Jarrod, I know you haven't been on the show in a while, but this is where you say go Bills. Yeah,
yeah, there you go. All right. Jarrod says go
Bills.
Bills.
Go Bills. Go Bills.
Go
Bills. And I came into focus, too.
There you go.
Right at the last minute.
Yeah.
We're clear, guys.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah. It's just funny watching you sit back and
Yeah,
I know, it's like I'm making all this noise trying to get the camera to focus. That's why I put it on mute, and I'm like, here I am now.
I think it was a great debut, Jerry. Jeff? Is that your name, Jeff? Jeff, Jerry, something like that.
Jeff, is Jeremy coming on tonight?
Jeremy. Brad, awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
for
much,
joining us
Brad.
again.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I always enjoy it.
Yeah, we love having you on, man. You're always so insightful and fun to talk to, and it's easy. And yeah, anytime you want, please come back.
Absolutely. I'm here anytime I can, as long as it works. I love being able to do it. So,
Awesome.
I'll do it anytime I can. So you guys let me know.
You got it,
Will
man.
do.
Thank you so much.
You got it. You
Have a
guys
great
have a
rest of the
night.
week.
You
Yeah,
too.
I'm gonna try. It's tough getting back to work after a few days off.
I know.
But oh well. Here we go. Another day.